Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for January 31st, 2017. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Price failed to hold above the 2287s and subsequently pushed back toward MCVPOC here, which is about 64s, 2264s. Price failed to hold above the 2276 half key level, which is very important. And that's going to be a level to continue to watch. Remember those 2280s, 2277s, 2280s, that's about where prices had to break through in order to get to the next level up. And now, after a couple of days holding those highs, we've already come right back down. So those are areas here that the bulls need to reclaim in order to get prices to retest these recent highs. Otherwise, any failure to get back above 2280 and establish acceptance would imply a continuation back across the range, which could retest these lows here at 2250 and perhaps across the range into that low here recently at around 2230. So overall, we've had a quick roll down of the prices after prices pushed up into resistance. Remember, our 2296 half was tested, got within 2 ticks of the 2300s, and now we're already back down. I mentioned that the overall uptrending structure of the market remains intact. So bulls are more inclined to come in and attempt to defend down here for a shot at retesting highs and perhaps reclaiming or claiming that 2300 level. But again, if prices attempt to get above 2280 and fail, we could be looking at a continuation back across the range. So today's going to be about watching to see how market participants respond to prices above 2276 half and 2280. Here's a look at the intraday time frame. On an intraday basis, if I roll this back a little bit, you'll see the previous session. We knew that 2287 was very important, especially in the trading room. We've been talking about 87s this entire time. And gapping down against it here and failing to even test it was very important. We saw a very swift decline right into 64s. And since that happened, price kind of held at these lows. So right now, 76 to about 64 is a nice clear range here where we could do some business, at least in the near term. As I mentioned, above 80 here is going to be very important. If prices can't get above that zone, we could be looking at retesting these lows and perhaps probing some lower. So right now, we'll keep an eye on how price responds after the recent sell-off. Anytime you have a big move like you do in the prior session, the tendency is to digest that recent move in the current price range and perhaps look to fade the edges until proven otherwise. So again, first order of business is watching to see what happens here at 77, 78. Any failure there could be a quick sell-off back towards 68s to retest these lows. All right, let's take a look here at crude oil. If we take a look at crude here, let's bring up a daily time frame for a moment. Crude oil, you can see that continues to hold in this narrow range overall. And that's what I mentioned before. There's not a whole lot of action happening at this time. A lot of energy is being built up, but we're not really seeing any type of aggressive movement in one way or another. We're not even really seeing any movement hardly at all. It's all intraday only. So from a higher time frame perspective, we're pretty much still stuck in this larger impulse range right here. One attempt outside of that range was quickly rejected to begin the year. All prices above the previous month's close have been heavily rejected. So right now we're still in the range. And the ball game is basically 51.67 to about 54 at the moment. The edges of these ranges make for much clearer reversal opportunities, and even much lower down into this zone here at around 50 half, 50.70 offers an opportunity to fade it. Until we get out to those edges, we're kind of stuck in the middle here, and that does not offer great trade location, as trading around acceptance can be quite difficult at this time. So we've got to continue to let it shake out and seek an edge before we can fade it back to the opposite zone. On a lower time frame basis here, you can see intraday speaking. One thing that was very important here over the last several days was how price failed to get beyond 54s. Here it is, 54s. You can see that price formed a range with a nice LVN here and attempted to push and failed. And once it did and broke back below it, it was rejected. We got to move down, and all advances have been rejected ever since. We have a downtrending channel developing right now with a major LVN at 53.60. So This could be a major area to sell between 53.40, 53.60. If price rallies into that area, it could be a fantastic selling opportunity. Not sure we quite get that high at the moment, as currently the previous session's close is being offered. So right here, that's the edge from the previous session here in the afternoon and morning. Any push into 52.90 or perhaps even into that 53 LVN could be a great selling opportunity short term back down. So again, we're looking at kind of a fade the edges type of day. All right, let's take a look here at gold futures. Right now, gold continues to trend higher. On an intraday basis, you can see the nice channel that has developed. Price has held the 1197.80s and is pushing through 1200. In the previous session, we were looking for prices to continue toward 1220. So here's the higher time frame look. After price push and failed to push beyond 1220 here, we got a rollback toward 1180. I mentioned bulls would still like to defend 1180 for a return to 1220, but it all kind of depended on this zone right here. That's kind of the middle zone of this range is 1200, and today we're seeing a push through it. Very, very bullish, and closing on these highs would imply that any pullback the next day could still be a buying opportunity until we hit 1220, as this could be the range that's currently in play. And so any push into 1220 could be another fade. Any push into 1180 could be another fade back up. So right now, the flow is still up short term with the potential to see 1220 at some point over the next couple of days. If we take a look at the NQ now, here's the NQ. We talked about the strength overall in the NQ, but it's been very, very low volume volatility type of movement. We've had a nice push up. This was a great retest of the previous month's high at 49.94, and that's led to a nice continuation. This is the 50% expansion of the previous month's range. Price held above it for a couple of days and then failed. I mentioned before, any pullback still likely to be a buying opportunity, perhaps even as low as 50.80 here. Right now we're trading in the lower portion or lower half of the distribution of the previous session's range. That typically implies more weakness to come. So again, right now, while bulls may be looking to defend this pullback, there could be more weakness below if these 51s cannot hold. And that's going to be something to watch, because failure to hold that level will then test the opposite edge of the range at about 50.30. So there could be some more weakness ahead. We will get new pivots for the upcoming month after today's close, and that will give us a little bit more clarity about which levels to watch heading into February's market. Now, taking a look at the intraday time frame, we've had weakness in the previous session. The expectation the previous day in our pre-market report was 51.40. A violation would lead to a move to 51s, which was the high probability target. That's right here, with a shot to see 50.75 on an extended basis. We got to 50.94.5. So as soon as price broke below 51.40, it hit our 51 target very, very quickly, and from there kind of channeled higher quietly the rest of the day. Overall, 51.40 is going to be very important. I would say any retest of that area would want to be defended by bears for a shot at extending this move to the downside. So that's going to be a clear area to watch, 51.40 for a retest. At the moment, we have a little bit of a range developing from 51.05 to 51.25. Expect a bit of fading the edges early in the day, but again, this is going to be the key level to watch for bears attempting to push this thing lower. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this plays out the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.